Well, hey, Diet Disruptors, Carrie here again. And this week I get to still have Nicole. So, hi, Nicole.
Hello, Carrie. Hello, everybody.
This is Coach Nicole, and Coach Nicole is like my co host all month. And yet, Nicole is also an educator. And so every Monday, we're like hoping she's going to be able to join us because you never know what's going to happen. So, yeah, exactly. But you look so lovely. It's so funny when you just got on the call before we started recording. I go, "Oh, you look so nice." And you said, "Yeah, I showered."
I figured I was going out of the house, so you got to get up, go get
So
lunch.
funny how different our standards are these days, huh?
Oh my gosh, it is
I know.
absolutely crazy how it's changed.
Yep. It is so funny. Whenever I know I'm going to do like a call like this, I put some makeup on. That's about as far as I go. Always in my athleisure. So anyway, we are talking all month about debunking myths. And last week we talked about debunking the myth of fasting and why that doesn't work for us and why we need to do something else. And our approach is all about how we fuel ourselves with food, which goes against what so many people believe is true. Right. And we also just have this kind of concept of like calories in versus calories out. We need to not eat in order to lose weight. And it's completely the opposite is true. We actually need to eat the right foods in the right portions to be able to make our body respond the way we wanted diets to, right? It's just so crazy. What was your last PFC meal that you had, Nicole?
Oh, my last PFC meal was two clementines,
Mm-hmm.
a slice of turkey, and two hard-boiled eggs.
Oh, so you had your protein and your fat and your eggs, a little extra protein, and some carbs in the so healthy and correct.
I know. I took a picture because I'm just starting to like snap pictures of everything on my phone and then like upload it for you guys when I have a
Nice.
and I wanted this post to say not fancy but satisfying.
And it really is. So I did my hard-boiled egg whites with guacamole on my thin stackers, which ugh, I love so much, and it seems so simple. And those are the quick grab and goes. But then, I'm always posting the recipes that I'm making, right? Because the recipes are like amazing. And so it's about being able to just fuel ourselves when you're fueling it. Your body just loves you, and you can feel it start to work. But here's what's so crazy. The other piece about health and wellness and nutrition and people losing weight comes around exercise. People will, always kind of put hand in hand nutrition and exercise together. And when people come into our Diet Disruptor squad, they often answer questions before joining the group. And one of them was, what's your number one nutritional challenge? So many people will talk about how they exercise all the time and they just feel like they're not able to make any progress. And I talk about this a lot, especially in our membership group, around that kind of sweet spot with our bodies. And I always say this, it's like we can drink too much water. Water is a really good thing, but we can drink too much of it. And so we're going to debunk the myth this week about exercise being what's required to lose weight and to get healthy. Are you an
Yes,
exerciser?
I am, but I'm not a consistent exerciser.
Say more.
So my inconsistency of exercising, I do try to do some ab work because as a mother of two kids who, were really close in age, I had some separating of my ab muscles. And so I'm working on trying to get those back together. But, especially with this crazy time, it's hard to schedule it
Yeah.
and waking up at different times. And my kids, we're homeschooling. And so they're not really on a set schedule. And I'm still trying to figure out this remote learning thing. And it's
Yeah.
just,
I mean, that's everybody's, right? But
yeah.
that's what's so important for us to recognize is like there's two main topics I think that I want to be talking about. One is around the concept of go slow to go fast. And then the other one of like prioritizing or actually the real role of exercise in the whole picture. So we're going to talk about go slow to go fast and the whole role of exercise. So It's so interesting. I had a client who, I've had a few clients like this actually, but one comes to mind, but who came to me exercising 7 days a week, like strength training, cardio, yoga, all of the things, and was really frustrated because she kept gaining weight. Like as she got older and she was going into her 40s, she was like, it's almost like the more I work out, the worse it is. And she
Mm.
couldn't figure it out. And it goes around the same theory of when we deprive ourselves with food. I mean, what are we doing to our metabolism, Nicole, when we deprive ourselves of food in a diet?
We're slowing it down.
Yes. And our bodies want this balance, this homeostasis, right? Like our bodies want to feel this hormonal balance. And when we are depriving ourselves of food, we're throwing off our hormones. But when we are over stressing our body, when we are overworking it and not fueling it correctly, so our metabolism is slowing down, but also we're putting all this extra stress on our body, and our body will actually go into this mode of trying to hold on to every piece of food you give it, and it won't burn it because you're putting your body under so much stress by working out so much. There's a sweet spot in it. And when you're not fueling yourself correctly, it's like running your car on fumes. When you see like this, I don't know if this happens to you. I hate pumping gas. So I always make my husband pump gas. So I just wait until like it gets low enough and I'm like, can I drive it? And I'm like, I got 14 miles left before, and I'm only going somewhere 5 miles away. But I drive really slow to try to conserve gas so
Mm.
that I can make it and not have to pump gas myself. And I know if I slow down, I might get a few extra miles out of it, right? That's essentially what your body does. Like I worked my car till it was on fumes. And so now imagine what would happen if I started speed racing with my car on fumes.
Right.
I'd run out of gas even sooner, right?
Yep.
Yep. So that's what we're doing when we're over exercising. And people are like, well, how do you know what is too much or not too much? Well, your body will tell you, right? Like, you knew when you needed to do the 4 weeks to wellness lifestyle launch. What was your body telling you?
Yes, my body was definitely telling me I needed some change. I needed to take care of it because it had stopped working.
You were
It's
literally in bed.
Yep.
Right? Your mother was coming over to take care of your kids because you had no ability. You had vertigo, you had no energy, right?
Yep. It was awful. It was the most worst experience. And yes, so my body kerplunked itself.
And without medication, you got yourself into a place of now now you're functioning.
Yeah,
Right?
I know. And it's really interesting because I knew that about, the food aspect of it that you were talking about, but I actually didn't really realize that it's the same with exercise,
Mm-hmm.
that, pushing yourself. But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it really, really does. So people talk about like, well, how much exercise is too much? Well, if you are at the point where you are working out 7 days a week and your body is not reacting in a way where you feel good, or you're gaining weight, or you're totally at a plateau and not moving, that's your body communicating. We have to start listening to our bodies. They tell us everything. Like hunger is the very first thing that our bodies tell us when our blood sugar is low, and how many of us ignore it? And then we just keep ignoring and ignoring, and we just abuse ourselves, right? I think about the word integrity. And a lot of times we teach kids, for example, integrity is doing what's right when no one is looking. But integrity, I just recently read another definition of it, of having value putting value for yourself. Allowing yourself to have value is really what integrity is. Right. Doing what's right when nobody is looking, for sure, but it's because you value yourself so much. Right. And so if your body is communicating to you that you aren't serving it correctly, have the integrity to listen, because it means you're valuing yourself. You're breaking promises to yourself in a way, right? When you don't take care of yourself. So when people are working out so much and they're not seeing progress, they don't feel good, they're actually regressing, that's a really good sign. But
Mm.
here's the other thing. It's 80% nutrition. So if you are not living the lifestyle that we know you need to live, as healthy as possible, but correct almost all the time, healthy being clean, unprocessed whole foods, correct being a PFC balance, what we talk about all the time, eating in threes, PFC every 3 to 4 hours. If you're not doing that, don't even go to the gym yet, right? Don't even, it's 80% nutrition. One of the things I say to people is, how much are you spending on your gym membership? How much are you like kicking your own butt to go to the gym? Give up the gym, for a month or two and walk, do use that money, put it towards the 4 weeks to wellness, get yourself into the right foundation. Can you imagine building a house on a beach with no foundation at all? No stilts or no concrete? The house will go right into the water. And all these people I know are going to the gym. I love CrossFit. I CrossFitting and not taking any of their nutritional pieces and wondering why they're not making progress. Because your body will, first off, needs to be fueled correctly with the right foods and the right frequency and the right portions. And then it will respond. Exercise isn't going to make you lose weight. It's your nutrition is. Your exercise will get you strong. It will get you lean. It will allow you to get through that fat burning faster. It will help to boost your metabolism, but only if you have your nutrition under control. Right?
Right. And that's kind of when I did my 4 weeks to wellness, that's what my mindset was too. I really wasn't even focused on exercise because I knew I had to get my health and eating back on track.
Yeah.
And even without the exercise, I was losing weight with just the eating.
Yeah. I mean, people will. And that's one of the things. And there's so many factors that go into weight loss, but it is the right thing to do. For the way that we teach is what everybody needs. I say that all the time. It is not a trend. It is not like what works for you versus what works for me. It is like blood sugar stabilization, and the formula to get there is what everybody needs for the short and long term.
Right.
Down, like it's that's all it is. As well as if you are a parent, we talked about this last week, are you modeling the right habits for your kids, right? And can you do something for the rest of your life? Your body wants that relationship and that consistency with you. But I always say, you bring up a good point of where my second point is of go slow to go fast. One thing at a time. I last weekend wanted to do all the things. Clean my basement, clean under my bathroom sink, all the things. I was motivated. I was going to do it all. And then I kind of ran out of steam and only got half of it done. And when we try to I'm going to do the 4 weeks to wellness, and I'm going to start exercising, and I'm going to get all my sleep in, and I'm going to eat, eventually it's just too much too fast. But what we talk about in Atomic Habits, when we did that book study by James Clear, it was and Mark McDonald talks about this all the time too, 1% progress. Change one thing at a time. And so I would say, let's get your habits down around nutrition first. Then we can add in exercise. I just had a coaching call with somebody and we talked about this. I'm like, she said, I know I got to add more exercise into it. I'm like, first we're going to get this going. If you really, around week 3, you really feel like you're ready because this is pretty automatic, great. But not before that. And it's almost like people are like, oh, that feels better. Right? Like people feel like it's almost like they got to do all of it in order to see the progress. We are not talking about massive changes for quick loss, only to then get tired, burnt out, or for your body to be like, what's going on? And then get confused and hold on to it all. It is about long-term change. And the only way to do that is by slow growth over time. So implement exercise once you know that you're doing right by your eating. And when I say right by your eating, I mean doing eating clean and eating PFC every 3. And if you don't know if you're doing it right, then you got to work with us so we can help support you on that. Don't you think?
I do, because honestly, I was that person too who kind of was stalking the Diet Disruptors website and okay, I'm just going to figure this out on my own. This isn't really that difficult, right? I got this. But I just couldn't,
Well, and you and I knew each other before this too. So you could be texting and asking questions, but it was it needs to come together for you in a way that's super streamlined so that it sticks. And it's it really not even just sticks, but it becomes part of you.
Well, and I think that's like when we talk about intentionality. So like I was trying to do it over months and like doing pieces of it here and pieces of it there. And yes, maybe texting you a question or two, and then it was just like choppy. But when you
Yeah.
decide to be intentional and focus on that 4 weeks, well, really 6 weeks, but 4 weeks of, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to focus on it. It was so much easier.
Yeah. So easy. Like, why spin your wheel? Like, it's like a hamster on a wheel, right?
Right.
And when you really break it down, we're talking about like $8 a day. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And when I think about what I spend at Starbucks, like I keep renewing my card. And I don't like add funds, add funds. And when I think about how many times I do that, I always think, my goodness, I am spending a ridiculous amount of money at Starbucks, but it's so automatic. I don't even like realize it in the moment until I look at my bank account and I'm like, dang it.
Right.
It's like we're spending the money, and I really like to reallocate it for those 4 weeks. It's you're right. 6 weeks we do a week of prep, 4 weeks of implementing and learning, and then a week of integrating whatever foods we feel like we are missing back into it. It's so powerful, and it's a lifestyle launch because it's not like a diet for 4 weeks so you don't know what to do afterwards. It's about launching a lifestyle, a new way of thinking.
It is. And like I'm doing the 4 weeks again right now
Yeah,
currently. And it was funny because I didn't realize that, I had done it 6 months ago and it was already time to do it. And I had missed like all of prep week. But it is because I had been doing it for 6 months, again, it's part of my lifestyle now
yeah.
anyway, really, that I didn't need the whole week to plan out
To figure
everything,
it out. Yeah.
figure it out. Right. I just was able to really quick a day, do my grocery list, get everything together and
Yep.
figure it.
And people wonder, like, well, why do you do it? Why do you and your coaches do it a couple times a year? I mean, I do it. I'm going to do the next one, the September 21st one,
Mm,
because it's like saying that you only have to change the oil in your car once and then you can drive it forever. Like, we all get ourselves into habits that either don't totally serve us or we know that aren't the cleanest. You all know I love my wine. So do you, right?
yeah.
Or that I love, like, there's things that I'm going to not feel, as soon as you feel deprived, you're going to feel like you're on a diet. So there's things that we integrate in, but everything's a protein, fat, or carb. So you can totally do that. Right. But then when you just commit to saying for 6 weeks, I'm going to totally eat clean and just take care of myself and just eliminate the things that really don't serve me. If you do that a couple times a year, it's just like an oil change for your car. And it's amazing how much your body loves that.
Right. I know.
So,
I'm
yeah.
excited to kind of see.
And I eat like that, like you said, like I eat like that almost all the time anyway. It's not that much of a shift for me when I do it, but it's that intentionality. I bring my own coach in. I have one of y'all coach me because that feeling of accountability is really powerful. So we only offer the 4 weeks to wellness a few times a year, but we have one starting September 21st, and I am doing it too. So anybody that does the group on September 21st will be doing it alongside me as well. And so we have opened the doors. Registration will close on Sunday at 9 p.m. We don't take anybody else after that because our coaches are all just getting everybody ready for prep week. There's a week of prepping, which will be 9/21. And then there is the 4 weeks of implementing and then a week after that. And so we are encouraging people for w2w.com to just do this. It's time. The summer is over. We have new routines. Like, just invest in yourself. You get your own personal coach, lifetime access to all the information that you learn. So it's not like it gets taken away, right? And your coach you have for 6 whole weeks, as well as our membership group for 6 weeks with so much information in there. So for people that made it to the end of this, I have a secret code for them, Nicole, and they can either message me or you, whoever they message is fine. And the code is, it's 80% nutrition. Right? We talked about exercise and how we can overdo it and totally deplete all of the things in our body with exercising. Therefore, eliminating all the progress and regressing, actually, just like depriving ourselves with food. It's 80% nutrition, 20% exercise. So the code is, it's 80% nutrition. And if you text me that code or message me or Nicole that code, and you sign up for the 4 weeks to wellness, you're going to get a one-on-one coaching call with me, which I don't usually offer. It's usually $75, but whoever does it with that code will be able to schedule a one-on-one call with me. So that will be fun. And they can do it like at the beginning, in the middle. A lot of people rather do it at the end, you know, when they're actually living the lifestyle, so that you can kind of get more tips after that. So I hope that people will do that. Any last minute words of wisdom, my friend?
Let me think. Oh, so back to that exercising piece where you're like, tell me more about it. I was in that lull phase of I was seeing results because I was consistently doing it for a long period of time, and I was seeing results. So then I stopped, and then I got out
Oh,
of my habit and out of my.
oh,
So I think it Atomic Habits where he talks about like the curve.
yeah.
But yeah, so I was thinking more about that. That's kind of, so don't fall into, that success. Don't stop just because you're seeing results. You got to keep doing it.
It really is true. It really is. And your body will respond, you know. And
Yeah.
you miss one here or there, and then it becomes a new habit of
Yes.
missing, you know.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we talk about in the membership group a lot, around the mindsets of like this stuff. Because once you learn it, it's easy. It's not about that. It's about actually like life. And when life gets in the way, how do you keep going? So,
Right.
all right, you guys. Well, Nicole, thank you for your time. I love it. It's 80% nutrition. That's your code to get a free call with me if you register for the 4 weeks to wellness. And